Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Kirsty and this is Stuck in the Mud. So in today's video I wanted to talk about healing from OCD and what that can look like, because when we actually decide that we want to heal and we want to treat OCD as we should, because it lies and it manipulates us in such a way that we're always at its beck and call. We're always doing what OCD wants us to do. But when we actually decide we're on that healing path, a lot of feelings can come up with that. And the one I experienced the most was guilt. And that was guilt of not actually involving myself with my thoughts, because with my therapy that I did, which was metacognitive therapy, I would have to look at my thoughts as they are. They're just thoughts. And any of the most horrific, violent, the most intrusive thoughts, the worst intrusive thoughts that you could, possibly imagine, I had to let them be there and I couldn't actively engage in them. So that would just mean letting them coexist with me and, just letting them play out. These are just thoughts and they're just an event in the mind, and to kind of just let them be there was difficult at first. But once I really got to grips with that, I would suddenly sense feelings of guilt and shame that I wasn't trying to work these thoughts out anymore. And that's just another way OCD likes to try and pull. This is just a thing that it wants to get you hooked. It wants to get your involvement. It wants your attention. And it will try anyway. And if you are on that healing road, you're doing all your therapy, you're doing everything as you should, you're just letting them play out in the mind, these thoughts, random thoughts, intrusive thoughts, all the worst ones you can possibly imagine. And we choose to let them be there. We think, no, I'm not going to involve myself. So does that make me a bad person? That's what I would get. I would get like, OCD will try another way to get your attention. And the way it did it with me, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this as well, is when you actually feel bad. You feel like you're a bad person because you're not actually figuring that stuff out anymore. And you feel bad in a way that you think, well, does that mean I'm a bad person because I'm just letting these thoughts be there? They go against my moral code, everything I value, everything I stand for. These thoughts are not you. These thoughts are just thoughts that many of us have. In fact, all of us have. I'll make a correction that all of us experience these intrusive thoughts, even the ones that you think that I'm the only one thinking this. The worst ones you can possibly imagine, and you think I'm the only one thinking this. But everybody gets those, but they don't tell you about them. And they drift in so quickly that they don't even give it the attention because they don't have OCD. And that is the difference. They don't have OCD. They don't latch onto them because they know they're just random thoughts and they barely give it any attention. In fact, they may not have even noticed they had it. But when you suffer from OCD and we're missing some connection there, that we can rationalize these thoughts as just thoughts. And for me, that showed up when I was getting better. I would literally let the thoughts be there and I'd be doing everything that I should. But then I would get the thought, well, doesn't this make you a bad person because you're not figuring out if this is actually truly who you are? We're not getting to the bottom of it. We're not getting a conclusion, We're just ignoring it in a way. And, it kind of gets your attention, that, because you think, well, actually, yeah, maybe I do need to work this out. It's just another way. It's just another way OCD tries to trap you in the cycle of feeling all the feelings that come along with it, all the emotions, the guilt, the shame, the frustration, the anxiety, the panic, the anger, that we are getting these thoughts again, but they are just thoughts. And when you realize that just because you're not involving yourself with your thoughts anymore and you're letting them be there, you're letting them coexist, they're just a passing event in the mind. Once we realize this, that doesn't mean that you don't care. It's entirely the opposite. You care so much. As an OCD sufferer, I know you're all sensitive people. You suffer from OCD, you're super sensitive. And this is why we get OCD and why, it can show up in our life, because as a highly sensitive person, these things bother us. That when they enter our thought space, they really bother us, because it's so far apart from you as a person, and we can't figure out and rationalize why we're getting these thoughts. But when we can really accept that these are just thoughts, they don't say anything about you, and it's fine that you are experiencing them, because it really is. Any thought is allowed. And that was, for me, that statement in itself is just, it's so freeing, because when I had my therapy, my therapist would say any thought is allowed. And, as a person that suffers with OCD and intrusive thoughts, and, that is such an amazing thing to hear, because we really do, we come down so hard on ourselves for thinking the things we do, and it doesn't say anything about you. We are so not our thoughts. We are so far apart from that. And when we can really get our head around that and think, well, this doesn't mean I'm a bad person because I think these things. But OCD wants your attention, and it will try every which way to get that. So don't be surprised if, when you're actually healing from OCD, and if you've following the metacognitive therapy model, the detached mindfulness, don't be surprised if you get those kind of thoughts, because these thoughts, they produce so much shame and guilt because we even experience them. And, to let them be there doesn't mean you're a bad person, because we care so much. We're just sensitive beings in this world, and you're a good person. And I honestly believe that OCD does affect people that are really attuned to this, and we take in so much from our environment. And when things go against us and against our values and moral code, it just makes us have more of these thoughts. They're more powerful because they just seem so far apart from who we are as a person. So I wanted to kind of give you that information and let you know that is a completely normal thought. It's a completely normal thought to have when you're getting better from OCD. Because once we let those thoughts be there, OCD doesn't have the power over us anymore. We're showing OCD these thoughts aren't important. However, this is another way, because OCD will go, well, they're not important. What you're saying, they're not important. These are really awful thoughts to be thinking. That's just another way OCD wants to get you back in, and wants to hook you back in and get you back into ruminating and trying to figure everything out, try and work out, why am I having these thoughts? What does it say about me? Am I a bad person? Then there we are. We're spider webbing off into all these different thoughts and feelings and sensations, urges, mental images that are scary, and they're really frightening and debilitating because we don't want them. But if we can just let them be there, they will fizzle out on their own. And don't be surprised if you get an increase at first, because once we actually show OCD who's boss, it doesn't like it. It wants our involvement. We're saying no more. You can be there, but I don't have to involve myself with you. And they will dissolve on their own. And that is just the beauty of this kind of therapy. So yeah, be on the lookout for those kind of sneaky OCD thoughts. They're not important because they're not you. These thoughts say nothing about you. And I really want to make you know that you deserve to get better from this, because it's not who you are. And these thoughts just so way apart from who you are as a person. So I really hope this video has helped and given you a bit more insight into what that healing journey could be like for you. And if you've experienced these kind of thoughts already and this really resonates with you, I'd like to hear in the comments. And please don't forget to like the video if you've found this useful and helpful for you, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because it's been great getting to know people that have commented on the videos. And I'm really hoping these videos are actually doing good for people that suffer from OCD and anxiety, and it's actually helping them to get better. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.